Welcome to the Mark Attwood Show, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit. How are you doing? Are you good? You feeling optimistic? I am. Check the links below this in the description below this video, as usual. Get on my email list. I'm also planning on running a retreat in Morocco in September, in the desert, in the beautiful Sahara. If you fancy coming with me, there's a link below that, and you can get on the list. And yeah, it's been a bit of a busy, crazy day, and I'm a little bit late to the party with this next interview because I should have really interviewed Katherine about 2 years ago. Hello, Katherine.
Hello, my love. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Right, busy, but yeah, actually really good. Really, really optimistic. Really excited. Lots of good stuff happening. Very, very positive.
Well, I did find it interesting. The health secretary and the chancellor both resigned yesterday within 5 minutes of each other.
I don't think that's coordinated at all.
No, of course not. And it doesn't look like two rats running away at all, does it?
No, but I've got a number of theories on what's going on. I haven't committed to one yet. I think there could be a number of angles that are taking place here. From obviously, I think there's a good chance they're going to go for a leadership challenge, a change of batter, if you like. I don't know if Boris is abiding by the bad guys as much as they'd like. Who knows? I'm not saying he's not. There's obviously the opportunity to snap election, snap GE, get Keir and his little elite crew in there, and see that they can hold the table for 4 years. Or it could just be simple as they're sinking the rats, like you say, leaving the sinking ship because they know what's incoming is not going to be good for them.
They know what's coming. That's why they're running. They know what's coming. That's why they're running. I'm going to write that down.
Yeah,
that's my next poem. They know what's coming. That's why they're running.
I do hope that is the case. I do. But being me, I am just sitting back at the moment and observing calmly and enjoying it, actually, because something's happening and there's a reason that this has happened. And once that truly comes to light, I think it's going to be fascinating for us. But I also think, whilst I very much believe in the new system, I'm always somebody who likes to take the multi-pronged attack. So I also think that if they are going to throw a snap GE in here, this is an opportunity actually for potential candidates, be it independent or through one of the freedom parties, to step forward and play them at their own game and see how they respond. Who knows? Well, who knows?
None of us really know, but I'm getting some incredible information at the moment, and I'm extremely excited about what's coming. But my message has been consistent, and that is that we have to enjoy the moment, and we have to live in the moment. We have to carpe diem. We need to seize the day and take action to go on a positive timeline, which is why I'm talking to you, because you are one of the people, one of the heroes of this world at the moment who is taking action, right? With the People's Health Alliance, and also what's the new one called?
So today we've sent out our first kind of pre-launch message. We'll be launching in August for the People's Food and Farming Alliance. And we're going to approach it in a way, part of what we're approaching hasn't been done by anyone else yet. It's totally new.
Yeah, well, I've said for quite a while that God wants us to stand up because when we do, it raises the frequency. And when we say no to this fucking system and these arseholes that have been running this planet for so long, they're fucking assholes, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been like you. I've been waiting 25 years for this moment. I've been waiting a long old time, and I could not be. People I think have thought I'm utterly bizarre over the last couple of years because I have been well and truly in my happy place because I know where this goes. I know where this ends up, and it's bloody wonderful.
Yeah.
We've got to go through the motions a little bit. Of course we do, but it's not necessarily a time to just sit back and see what happens.
No.
I'm personally of the attitude, let's take control of this situation for us, for the people, for the communities. And by going through the models that we're creating, we naturally decentralize power from those that believe they hold it now and truly return it back to the people. And we do it without a minute's negativity or violence or any of that stuff. It's just going to organically, naturally happen as we create new infrastructure for the people. And yeah, it's just going to be a byproduct of that is that they're going to become completely irrelevant.
Yeah, it kind of makes me laugh. I've been involved in digital marketing since, I don't know, 1998, I think I first started. And I was like, as I was going through all of that, I remember when I started becoming a teacher, I stood up at a seminar one day, and the first thing I said was, "Don't trust Google." And everybody went, they all took an in-breath. And I said, why are you fucking idiots all giving over all your business data to Google? What are you
Yeah.
doing? Right.
Yeah.
And then when Uber came along, I said, don't use Uber. And people
Yeah.
were like, what? You're mad. I said, that's the centralization of transport, you fucking numpty.
Yeah.
And do you think those Uber drivers are going to be there in 5 years? No, they'll all be driverless cars. That means the entire all those families that depend upon taxis in London and everywhere else will all be gone. And then all those drivers that you think are having opportunities because they're immigrants and isn't it good and we get cheap taxes, they'll all be gone.
Yeah.
And then you'll be driven around by fucking robots and all the profits go back to some corporation.
Yeah.
What is wrong? Decentralization is critical.
Yes.
To the future.
Absolutely. So, every single model we build has to, in its essence, bring the power back to the communities. We decentralize that power back. Now, that's why I'm seeing this potential Snap GE as an opportunity, because if you get enough candidates to come forward, A, you're going to ruffle feathers, but B, if they are parties, and I've got my eye on one in particular, that are genuinely up for decentralizing power from government, bring it back to being an administrative body, which is all it really needs to be. We don't need more than that. Then we can bring it back. But what we've also got to do is take the opportunity to break down those councils, to run out the corruption and so forth that's in there. I mean, personally, I'd like to wipe them all away and start from scratch and return power back to the people. But at the moment, I understand there has to be a transitionary period for everybody to be able to cope who isn't necessarily heading towards that 5D world just yet, to ensure that there is that smooth transition. And this might be a way to do it. But my energy predominantly will be focused on building the new, because it's exciting.
It's really exciting. So for people that don't know about the PHA, do you want to tell us a little potted history, what the plan is, what's going on, how it's working, blah, blah, blah?
Absolutely. So, basically last year when the government announced the NHS mandates for the staff there, we thought a small group of us sort of thought, hang on a minute, okay, now's the time we've got to do something, because this is, I mean, the health system anyway was shocking, and it's only going to make it worse. And so,
do you know what I heard when you said that?
Go on.
I didn't hear the health system. I heard the hell system.
Oh, did you? Take it whichever way you want it, Mark. Either could work right now. But yeah, basically an opportunity to create something that is going to bring back choice, bring back options. And we know that there's a number of holistic natural practitioners out there who are doing incredible work, who've been forced in the shadows for far too long. And we want to take this opportunity to bring that holistic health in line, certainly on a primary care setting level, with the allopathic doctors and nurses who want to leave the NHS. They're sick and tired of what they're seeing. There's issues at the moment in terms of how prescriptions could take place, but it's fine. We're working on it and we're going to find solutions. And then further down the line we go, the less that's going to matter, I think, because people are going to want business. And in all honesty, the more people we can move over to a more natural way of being, a more holistic approach to our health, we're going to minimize the need to have those allopathic primary care level practitioners doing what they do. I think there's always going to be a place in acute care. And in the fullness of time, we'll probably get there. But what we're also looking to do through our Power of the Pound campaign, because of the failing ambulance system, and because A&E is a nightmare now, is have a little bit back up in communities by getting volunteers trained to advance first level and working with current practitioners as well. And PHA Central are fundraising through the Power of the Pound campaign, where we're asking people to donate £1 a month to get the equipment together that's needed. So defibs, first aid equipment, anything else. It's on our website, a list of equipment we're looking to get our hands on, so we can distribute that out across the UK and give people more of a fighting chance. Because with certain injuries that have been occurring, we have seen an increase in the likes of heart attacks and strokes and so on and so forth. And I don't think we're at the end of that yet. I think there's going to be more. And we have a responsibility, a moral, personal responsibility, to ensure that we do everything we can to limit people's suffering in the home. There it is, Power of the Pound. And there, on there, you'll find the list.
Shame it's still got that lizard's face on it, but there you go.
Yeah, I know. Don't think it'd be long now.
Not long, not long. I think she's been dead a couple of years already.
It wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me at all. So yeah, on there you'll find a list of the equipment. As we do with everything, we are totally transparent on what money we get, what we spend it on. The days of secret squirrel all being done behind closed doors are gone. We don't want any of that crap. Thank you very much. So we'll continue to be transparent in everything we do, because if we are going to bring change and build the new, then we've got to start at the very basic level with that integrity, with that moral stance, with that attitude that is needed in order to create something that is for the people and it is utterly transparent.
Well, it's the only way to do it, isn't it? You got to build a parallel system.
Yeah.
You know, and it's people power. If you're watching this, please go to the we're at the-pha.org, right? And spread it everywhere. We have the power, right? We've got social, you know, mine's not the biggest channel in the world, but you know, there's thousands of you going to be watching this video. Share it, okay? Share the message, share it out there. That's what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
And support it, you know,
Yeah.
even if it's only £1.
And there is, like you're saying about building the new, there are exciting things happening. I'll explain more a little bit about food and farming in a minute that we're launching next month. But I was very privileged. I went to a meeting on Monday in the Salisbury area, and there were a group of people, representatives, if you like, from a number of groups across the UK. And what we figured out between us, and I will send a link to you, Mark, so you can add it for this, but you're not going to be able to see it very clearly, but what's been mapped out.
I'll just remove myself so that you're bigger. Hang on.
What's been mapped out is the fundamental basics of all of our infrastructure that we need across the UK. So, for example, we're looking at education, health, economics, lawfulness, social, which, you know, we really need to look at in terms of the isolation that's taken place, the division that's taken place. We need to bring everyone back together at community level, food and farming, and so on and so forth. So what we're looking at now is actually, we've sorted the wheat from the chaff. There have been a number of people over the last couple of years.
I was going to ask you, how do you stop because every time you set something up like this, you get loads of people in, and then you get all these infiltrators and idiots.
Yeah.
How do we screen?
So to get back to these basic groups, I mean, I'm a big one for connections, I'm a big one for partnerships, affiliations. Absolutely, you can't do it all on your own, and I think it's arrogant to believe otherwise. And it's important actually that we have a cross-reference of points of view and opinions and everything else, energy to come into this. But over the years, I've worked with quite a few people, and where there's still ego at this stage, where there's still personal agendas at this stage, not interested.
Bye-bye.
Not interested.
Yeah.
These groups, which are going to come to the fore, for it's covering from a community assemblies through to the peacekeepers, through to what we're doing and other groups beyond that. That's going to become very, very obvious in the next month or so. And I wanted to just go and meet them face to face. I loved what they were saying. I loved what I heard, but actually I like to meet someone face to face, feel the energy, feel the vibe, and then credible people. And all of them want to follow the same model. Get that power back to the people. This is about communities. This is about individuals. And it's really exciting now that all this infrastructure, and I've just spoken to someone else today about transportation. There is a group working very quietly looking at transportation. So that will be addressed as well. And that infrastructure is being rebuilt from the ground up, but it's being built properly.
It's just amazing. Music to my ears. I've employed hundreds of people in my time, and the best advice I ever got was, if that person, imagine yourself on a long haul flight to Australia with that person, and if you think they're going to annoy you at all, don't employ them.
Yeah.
But that works. Right? I don't care about CVs or anything else. But what you need to do is find people that have been through a long, dark night of the soul, because they're the ones we need.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, waking up 25 years ago, you're totally, and you probably felt totally alone in the world. There was literally nobody else I could turn to. I didn't even have a computer. I had to go and do proper research, you know, in a library and stuff.
Yeah, same here.
And actually put myself out there in terms of industry and whatnot to find out more. And you do a lot of kind of shadow work. If you know you need to work on your own ego, you need to work on yourself, you know, you need to look inward first, because we can't go out and fix everything else if we're carrying around a ton of weight. So it did kind of force me to do a ton of shadow work. And the people I'm coming across now, I just know so many of them have been through the same process and come out the other side. So there isn't that huge ego and that personal agenda anymore, because I ain't got time for that.
No, I mean that's been the consistent theme for all the best people that are doing work at this time. We've all been through the shit, and you know, I remember I started waking up about 1990-ish when I left the RAF, but it really kicked in about 1999, and I remember walking home one night with this information in my head, going, "Fuck, fuck, fuck." We're fucked. You know? And you have to go through that. Yeah. And you know, just in the last couple of years, I mean, talk about an acceleration.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna make an omelet, you've got to break some eggs. And these you know, these systems are crumbling around their ears, aren't they? It's actually a tough process, but it's also, like you said, it's an amazing thing to witness.
It is. It is. And we've been waiting a long time for it, haven't we? And I think that's why, I think as well as about the waking up side of things, I think it's something people should be aware of, because what we're trying to do, there's multiple reasons why we're doing things the way we're doing at PHA and PFFA. And one of the things that we need to be mindful of is if people, you know, those that are currently asleep right now, if they wake up at the same time all of a sudden, you do risk a little bit of societal kind of, you know, dodginess there. There's going to be a bit of a wobble. And actually, it's very important for people to be able to cling on to something. So that's why we've got to get this transition right. Plus, we've got to have something there to replace what is potentially going to crash and burn in the not too distant future. And people won't panic if they feel that there's something established there. It's a mindset shift, though. I wrote an article a while ago, and again, I'll send it to you. It's an introduction for newbies, is what I called it. I probably should change the name. But what it was an introduction to the first awakening and how you process that. And it's not as relevant now because it was more focused on when there's so few of us.
Yeah.
But actually, for me and the experience I've had, it's like a grieving process. You go through stages, you have the anger and the resentment and all the various things. And it is a process you have to go through. And actually, if there is a mass great awakening all at the same time, it's going to be very important for people like us to be able to step in and catch those that fall. Otherwise, we do risk a little bit of a collapse. I think we sidestep it, but I think we should be aware of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've had that feeling for quite a long time, and you know, as 17 says, it had to be this way, and I completely understand that, because you couldn't just drop it. It'd be like a nuclear bomb. Yeah,
it had to be this way. Yeah.
So you've got PHA. What kind of timescales are you looking at in the UK? And you told me that this has spread internationally already.
Yeah. So we've got 100 hub groups across the UK. These are groups that have willingly come together, health hub in their community. Now, what this looks like for each area is going to be unique. We're taking the very, very strong opinion that it is not for us to dictate. We've created a blueprint of what a health hub could look like, but we're leaving it absolutely down to each community to decide what works for them, what suits them, because not everybody's the same. And we love the idea of that uniqueness, the idea that everything's going to be different. Got houses all look the same now, businesses monopolized all look the same now, everything looks the damn same. We don't want that. We want to allow for that creative input for every group within PHA to look as different as they want to look. There are some fundamental basics there and principles we'd like people to stick to, but otherwise, each one looks different. So on top of that, we've now got 20 countries who have signed up, who want to roll out the PHA model in their country, and they're really excited about what we're doing. So we've got our first meeting with representatives from those countries next week. We're quickly just adjusting things at our end just to make sure it will suit that movement over to another country. But it's really exciting because I think people understand, A, the energy, B, the need, and C, the fact that we must decentralize that power. We must return it back to the people, back to the communities. You know, this has happened on our watch, Mark. We were all freaking snoozing. So we need to take responsibility for the fact that we allowed this to happen. If we'd all been alert and had been great citizens, kind of keeping an eye on those with the power, this wouldn't have happened, but it did. And so
Well,
we
they were very, very sneaky, to be fair.
Oh yeah, brilliant. I mean, it's blooming brilliant how they've done it. No getting away from it.
Yeah.
They've done an incredible job. But it is down to us to fix it. Get rid of them and fix it.
Yeah. Yep. And have you got a website for the food one yet? Is that
No, that's being done at the moment. We've literally launched with a Telegram page. It's called the People's Food and Farming Alliance. And on there, it lays out very clearly how we're going to structure this. So, for example, there's going to be 3 areas of focus. 1, and support. 1, grow your own. 2, community food projects. And 3, which is what nobody else has yet tackled and I'm most excited about, is large-scale farming and producing. So actually, we need to change the way we farm, and we need to do it soon. Having spoken with a number of agronomists over the year, I know we've probably got about 6 years left that we can harvest on the soil that we currently have, that we can farm on that, because we've destroyed it so much. So there's a way, but I don't buy into all this, rewilding. Yes, some to a degree is lovely, but actually there is another way we can focus on farming, and it's very much a traditional approach.
permaculture?
It focuses around, so it's the same principles. Permaculture was born on the back of this, which is the Norfolk rotation system, and it's very much based on a mixed farming approach. So whereas now farmers have been moved down this kind of monocrop culture environment, what they've done is they've limited their route to market. They've cut themselves off from any opportunities. So if they have a bad season, they have a bad harvest, they're screwed.
Listen, I've been teaching people about multiple streams of income for years.
Yeah.
Every one of us should have multiple streams of income, including, and the farms, everybody, every business. Yeah.
But what we need to do is, by following the models that we're going to put out there and hope people enjoy, is reintroduction of mixed farming, which is incredibly important for the soil, incredibly important for the animal welfare and health as well. I'm no, I don't believe in climate change. That's not my bag. I do, however, believe that we have a pollution issue and we have a responsibility to take care of nature around us. And actually, our current farming practices are just not conducive with that.
No, you have to bake it in.
Yeah.
You have to bake it into the system. Do you remember when the pots and pans revolution in Iceland? No, it's Iceland. I think it was Iceland, when they got rid of a load of
MPs.
Yeah, and it was the women on the streets with pots and pans for 2 weeks, which was brilliant. That got rid of the bad guys in government. And then what they did is they brought out a new currency, and that currency, in order to get, so if you were a business and you wanted to get a loan off the bank to open up a cafe or something, they'd say, yes, you can have the money, but it means you've got to keep that piece of the park across the road of you clean. That's part of the terms.
Okay.
So they baked in social responsibility to the financial system, and I think it's such a simple thing to do.
Yeah, it is.
Because what I lived in Morocco for 4 years before I came to Ireland 4 years ago, and in a country like that, it's easy to give a bit of cash to the policeman, right? Backsheesh, a bit of, how's your
brown
father?
Envelope situation.
Yeah, and it cracked me up because people would come and visit, go, God, this country's so corrupt. And I go, no. England's the most corrupt country in the world. Yeah. It's just that they wear fucking suits and uniforms, you know, because they baked corruption into everything, from the money to the food to the government. I mean, it's just 6 million people employed by the government. What?
What on earth are they doing? We were looking at NHS budgets for this and primary care and oh my word. We were looking at the amount of money, and we just cannot understand where on earth all that money is going. None of it makes sense. Honestly, we haven't got nobody literally watching the purse strings. Really, we haven't. It's ridiculous. It's the same council level.
But, one of the great things about the last 2 years, spiritual quarantine period, shall we call it, has been the exposure of this. Like, I'm going to be careful with words because I want to make sure we get this on YouTube. But the exposure of people within that system and the companies behind that, of their, the fact that during the whole thing, no government minister, no politician stood up and said, take zinc, vitamin C,
I know,
CBD oil. Not one of them.
No.
Not one of them.
No.
Well, doesn't that tell everybody everything?
I went to see Jacob Rees-Mogg about, oh God, where are we now? 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago.
What, you actually in the same room as him?
Yeah, yeah. I've been hounding him for ages, and he caved. And I went in and I recorded it.
Oh,
I
was this a
haven't.
one-on-one?
Yeah, he had his assistant there as well. One of his assistants was there.
Oof.
And I went and spoke to him because, and a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but when I was looking for, don't laugh, when I was looking for an MP with the slightest modicum of integrity left, I know Jacob Rees-Mogg takes his religious beliefs very, very seriously. And within that, he likes to, I believe, he likes to feel he's being, his integrity is intact. So I wanted to find a way to get to him, as it were. And I was very blunt about it. I was very upfront when he was giving me the usual blathering. Oh, but the MHRA have said this, that, and the other. And I said, yeah, but Mitchie went and trashed the HCQ trials on purpose because of this reason and that reason. And you could see him like, didn't quite know how to deal with it. And then I thought, right, going for the kill bird. And I said, and I'd really like you to explain to me, having looked at the Pfizer documents, why we are giving this jab to this sticky thing to pregnant ladies and young children. And I explained to him what was in the document that showed the issues that had occurred during the trials with pregnant ladies. And he was quite shocked. He was noticeably quite taken aback by that. The rest of it, party line, the whole way, pure party line. But that one shocked him slightly. Now, I've asked him to come back to me with his responses on that, and he hasn't come back to me at all. But what I think it did do was potentially sow a slight seed. I'm not convinced as many of them know as much as they'd like to think they do. I think some of them are actually just really ignorant, which is not acceptable.
No.
Not when you're going to throw your weight behind this thing being into people.
I just put pictures of him up because I've got 29% of my audience are American. They won't know who he is.
Right.
And he's a very, very posh Catholic minister. His current role is minister
Leader of
for
the House, isn't he?
I think isn't he minister for improvements from Brexit or something?
I don't know. He's leader of the House and he's an MP for Bath and North East Somerset.
Yeah, I mean,
it was just fascinating though to sit and watch him because his poker face is beautiful. But it was interesting to sit and watch him and see how I just wanted to see him face to face. I wanted to watch his eyes. I wanted to watch his tiny little mannerisms that changed because I studied all that stuff years ago, which was why I thought if any of them are likely to have a tiny little bit of integrity left, I was drawn towards him.
It's interesting because I really believe all of them are controlled or taken over or demonically possessed, or they've got the vril inside them, or they're clones or whatever. Right? I just don't believe in any of them because the systems. Once you understand that the UK was taken over by the Rothschilds in 1815, right, and you understand stuff like that, and you understand that the royal family are interdimensionally possessed by demonic entities. Why would they let ordinary, decent people into Parliament? I mean, Mark Twain said if voting worked, it wouldn't allow us to do it.
Yeah.
So, I think I feel the same as you. I want to see people, I want to shake people by the hand and look them in the eye.
Yeah.
But I've just got past it all. I just want to burn down Parliament and start again.
Oh, yeah.
This
is more for my own fun, my own entertainment. I just wanted to see what response I'd get if I piled into this room and I started laying down Pfizer documents. I started laying down about how certain trials had been, played with. I mentioned the words "my dad's a lamb" and so forth, just because I wanted to watch and see if I triggered anything in there. And the one that did seem to cause a human reaction was when I talked about the really, really horrific issues taking place for pregnant ladies.
Yeah. And the kids,
Oh, man.
I mean,
there will be a massive, it's coming. It's coming. Justice is on its way.
Judgment Day is on its way. Yeah. Well, have you got any inside information on that?
No. We have. Oh my God! I can't believe I'm going to share this publicly. Let me get.
Hang on. Let me
get comfy. So
in bed with Katherine Mcbean.
Yeah, in bed with Mcbean. Yeah. So yeah, we have. How do I word this?
You sure you can play this?
We had one of our members approached and it was a situation where devices were removed from that person temporarily. They were informed that there is a large group of international like-minded people observing, and they would be in contact, and they gave a specific time and date of when they will be in contact. But we are being monitored.
Oh, yeah.
This person didn't feel threatened, although let's just say those people could have come across as very threatening. I won't go into too much detail. But I do believe that there are far more people involved at a certain level than we have absolute knowledge of. Let's put it that way.
Well, that concurs with everything that I'm hearing as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And something very, very big is coming.
Yeah. And we know politically in the US, there is absolutely masses taking place there. Again, multi-pronged attack. This is not coming from one angle. This is coming from a number of angles. So those that don't understand what's happening with the likes of, I don't know, John Durham or David Weissman or any other of these guys that are actually taking action, things are happening, and where that goes. And if you start looking at the potential indictments due to drop, it's going to get fascinating over the next 6 months. And I think the midterms are going to be a real swinger for a lot of it.
It's so interesting how it's how it's playing out. You know, I've said on a few videos, I feel like a kid on Christmas morning every time I get out of bed.
I know. I'm literally obsessed. I'm on what's happened, because obviously I miss a lot being in the UK when a lot of this action's happening in the US, and people, I think, unless you're in the know, think, well, what's it got to do? Why is the US going to have an impact on the UK? Trust me, the good stuff going down is predominantly taking place in the US right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Roe versus Wade and all the other stuff that's going on, it's like, isn't it fairly, you know,
Planned Parenthood are screwed now. They're not going to get the funding that they wanted, and I'm not going to go into direct detail on here, but if people understood actually what was taking place at Planned Parenthood, they would 100% support, you know, the destruction of that organization.
That organization was eugenics from day one. It's murdered. It's deliberately targeted black people. It's a genocide on black people. It's genocidal, full stop. And the body parts of babies. I mean, that's what it's really about. And they're so sick. They're so. But it's not even that. It's not even that. They've got
no. It's not. No, but I mean, if you take away the funding, then they can't keep functioning, can they?
Which is it's one, and dismantling them like this. It's the only logical way to do it.
It's exposure as well, isn't it? Little bit by little bit.
Yeah. It's wonderful to see.
Yeah.
But what makes my heart sing is people like you actually getting shit done. And no
fannying.
And all the people working with Katherine, I just want to send you my love and appreciation and respect if you're watching this video, because you are the builders of the new age.
And it's volunteer based. It's people led. I've been paid once, and now, as of yesterday, one of my colleagues, and God bless her, because she's a mum working 60 hours a week at this, and she's been with me from virtually word go and been doing it free of charge, and we've been plowing those hours in. So 2 people have been paid. Outside of that, this is volunteer based, and if it wasn't for you, the people, it wouldn't be happening. You know, it's so important everyone get involved, because we have the power to do it, and it's not difficult. None of this is hard.
No, I mean, we've been conned into thinking it's hard to run a government and hard to be in a council and hard to do. No, it's actually pretty simple. No. You know, none of this is
look at the basics. Take it back to basics and do it tiny bit by tiny bit. But get on with it, because, you know, it needs to happen now. Yeah.
So what else is going on? Anything else you can talk about today? I mean, you want people to go there and donate, but you still need, where can I find out where these centers are?
Yeah.
We've got buildings everywhere, right? Haven't you?
So what's the case is, we've got a few hubs have opened their doors. Now, bearing in mind, we're only like 8 weeks old in terms of since we launched. No, is it 8, 9 weeks old? It's not, we're not old. And what's happened in that time is phenomenal. So these groups are coming together, and some of them are getting hold of properties so that they can run a hub out of there. Some people are looking at getting a bus and using a bus to go around within their community, and they'll be at certain places each day, each week. And you pay a tenner or whatever it will be that they decide, whereby you're going to have a number of practitioners on there, and you can go and have a proper little assessment, and not a 5-minute job. You know, you can have a good half hour with somebody and get properly assessed and checked. Excuse me. So that's fundamental checkups, basic primary healthcare level. For some, they're creating hublets. So you'll have 3 or 4 practitioners in one little hublet in an area, 3 in another, 3, so on and so forth, because it's depending on what's available to them. There are no hard and fast rules, and there can't be for this, because actually we're having to move with pace, and things will grow as we go. It's an organic, people-led movement. It will grow as we go. But there's over 100 hub groups. We've got the practitioner directory. We're just updating. That'll be back online this weekend, I believe. So that's under maintenance at the moment, but we're actually improving it already. We're taking on board the feedback we're getting. But the guy who's doing it, he works full time. He's got a family. We can't pay him yet. So we do need people to get involved with helping with funding or coming in help to volunteer. We could do with more website designers, ideally with, she says, pretending she knows what on earth it is they need. WordPress development experience, because we want to get the PFFA off the ground as quickly as possible. So we need help with the website development there, but we also need it on the PHA site. We've got more to do. Another thing we're working on, and I had a meeting with international partners this week. There's a couple of them out there in the world who are sort of recreating, if you like, a VERS-based database system, but it's being done by the people. We at PHA are currently developing a database whereby any practitioners who are having some success in treating the VI damaged will be able to, as a practitioner, access that database with the basic information about what is going on, but also the treatment or whatever it is they're providing that is having a positive effect on that patient, so that other practitioners across the world can access it. It can find what's resonating with them and their patients, and hopefully take an application of that forward as a treatment. So we're doing something that nobody else in the world is doing at the moment, and that should, I'm hoping, be ready to go in about 8 weeks, because it's going to be quite substantial. But, there are things that we can do out there. We've got the health optimization program on our website. So we're not allowed to say it's a treatment or a cure or anything like that. But you'll understand by me saying those words that there's every evidence to suggest that if you have been injured or are post-viral with anything or really weak immunity, it's worth checking out. And it takes a whole healing approach. It's not just a bunch of supplements. It's a whole healing approach, looking from gut health through to stress, sleep, all of it that's involved in our well-being.
It's interesting because when I started this channel, I didn't know what I was going to talk about. I've done about 350 videos now, and healing just came into it naturally because I went through my own healing crisis and stuff. And one of the courses we could get this on your site actually. It's called Maximize the Light in Your Cosmic Suit, and we've had 1,500 people on that, and the reversals of diabetes, arthritis, weight normalization, all of that, just through simple knowledge that people just been hidden from people. Just simple things like blue light is a problem, blue light is a problem, eating at the right time of day. It's just simple stuff,
It is. And it is, again, going back to basics. A lot of it is stuff our grandparents knew or before them. It's not, we're not necessarily revolutionizing, something brand new here. We're actually quite often leaning into the traditional, leaning into our past, into, our ancestors and what they knew, aren't we? But send the link to that. We'll get it on the website.
Yeah, I will. And there's an affiliate program on it, so you could raise funds through it. And this is another thing. And we do it donation based. It's like people can pay what they can afford. I mean, the course is worth hundreds, but we sell it for like $30. And people can pay what they want above, and some do, and because we don't want to exclude anybody. So things like that. That's how we come together. This is what I'm trying to teach people as well. It's like 5D business models. I launched a course last year, and I decided it's worth a few £1,000 if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, it's free. And that's the way to do it.
I mean, we're sort of trying to set the situation up at the moment, and it's down to each hub, and we did the blueprint, and there's lots of different options on there on how practitioners can make enough money but have an allowance and availability for those that are on a low income or a poverty situation. And so many of them have said, oh, I already do that. I already make an allowance for that. Or maybe I'll just say to somebody, donate what you can. And if that's a couple of quid, it's a couple of quid.
Yeah, and that's how we bridge this, because I think we've got a new financial system coming in, no question about that. All the evidence is there as far as I can see, whether it's a QFS or an RV, I don't really care, but there's definitely new things going on. Something's going on.
I'm leaning into the Trump EOs that he signed before he left office. That's the ones I'm thinking is,
Yeah. I mean, if anybody thinks that Trump didn't set these things up is absolutely crackers.
It was all there. Just go and check the, executive orders he set up before he left.
Exactly. So I do think we're coming into a time of massive abundance, but this is the bridging. This is what we're going to do now is like, right, how do we step from this stone to that stone? And so let's start putting things into place, because not just in a physical sense, but on a spiritual and energetic sense, what you're doing, and all the guys working with you is shifting consciousness and improving education. And it's a sovereign thing. And, even when you mentioned WordPress, then I was laughing because I've been teaching people to use WordPress for years because it's an open source software.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're allowing people to build not only decentralized hubs and hublets, but they're open source. And what will happen is that this one down in Devon might start doing this, and the rest will hear about it. And if that was working there, suddenly it'll be implemented there because it's just proven itself. And not having to go to some fucking committee of dickheads approving budgets and stamping things and taking all the money into their back pockets, because that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
And that this country is even worse for the old. Is there anything going on in Ireland, by the way?
We do have a look on Telegram under Hill, but it's h.e.a.l. That's one of the Ireland groups. I don't know the other one off the top of my head, but if anybody wants to know, go to the People's Health Alliance Telegram page and look at the pinned post at the top of that channel, and there will always be an updated list of all the hub groups across the UK and Ireland. And then probably in about 2 weeks, we'll be able to launch the international groups as well for those that are ready for those.
Amazing. And are you getting a lot of people that didn't, nurses and doctors that didn't agree with all of that? Have you got many of them involved?
We've got some. We haven't got many, I wouldn't have said. But what is interesting, one of the partners that we've worked with, or one of our guys is very well connected to. I won't go into details. You'll recognize the names of the doctors that are involved with that, global doctors involved with that initiative. But they have had a shocking number of GPs apparently come to them who are actually injured because of it and don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with themselves. And out of desperation, they've reached out to us, weirdo conspiracy theorists, and they're now seeking assistance. And I think we will see quite a bit of regret. I think we're going to see quite some upset from that industry. But at the same time, if those that want to stay in it and carry on distributing, you do what you got to do. You do you, not interested.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of suicides, I think.
Yeah, I think we're heading. When are we going to have suicide weekend? You know exactly what I'm on about as well, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I don't know. I've been looking forward to it. I mean, I don't look. It sounds wrong to look forward to that. But
no, we're talking about the creme de la creme of repulsive here. That's the people we're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I don't wish death on anybody. I'm really soft. I can't watch a horror film, but I want these fuckers gone.
How do you feel about the death sentence nowadays? Now, up until a few years ago, when certain crimes against small people became apparent to me, I was quite anti. I was like, no, I'm not convinced it's the way to go, and so on. So who are we to take another person's life? We don't know what their background was. We don't know what they've suffered with. The whole empath in me came out. Since I really investigated it's about 4 or 5 years ago now, really into the nitty gritty of these crimes against our small people was taking place. I've had on that situation, I've had a change of heart.
Same here, only if it's totally proved.
100%, yeah.
The only issue I've ever had with it really is that if there's a chance of an innocent person being executed, then the system's got to be right. But God's in charge. This is a whole thing's a spiritual, journey, and if you told me that I'd be talking about God online a few years ago, I'd have laughed at you.
Well, if you read the Bible, and I tell you what I'm reading at the moment, which is fascinating, even if you look at it from a very much a study point of view, in this Book of Enoch, and I'm personally convinced the Book of Enoch was written for now, for the here and now. I mean, oh, there he goes. Yeah, he's got it. So what do you think? Because if you look at the Book of Enoch, it makes it very clear to us that actually this justice needs to be applied. This justice needs to come, and God is going to be behind it. I do wonder what that's going to look like when the time comes. I mean, I don't know. I don't have any answers. I just find it fascinating.
Well, me too. I'm hearing different versions of future events from different people, but all of them are spectacular.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel so excited.
Yeah.
And it's all going to be. I mean, people have been saying, "Oh, it's going to happen soon. It's going to happen soon." Well, what is soon in terms of time? Well, within
It's
2
relative,
years,
isn't it? Because for me, even though I was saying this 2 years ago, now the next 6 months is still soon for me because I've been in it for so long, as have you. So it is a relative expression.
It is a relative expression, and it's also I'm kind of buckled in, and I'm in this for the long run.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk to people like you who are making a change, being the change that we want to be.
Yeah.
That's an expression that I think just gets stronger and stronger and stronger in its resonance. Who are enjoying life.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful gift, life, and it doesn't, we may be surrounded by demons, but and learning how to cope with them, because we're the ones with the power.
Yes.
We've always had the power. We just didn't know it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why it's so important that we carry on doing what we're doing, because people, if you think about, we the people are going to rebuild the infrastructure, people get overwhelmed by this. They get scared by this. It's too much. It's not. If you just start by taking care of your neighbours, tapping into your neighbours, seeing if you can help in any way, is there anything they need? Well, there's so-and-so Doris at number 84 with the massive garden. She can't garden. Well, let's all go and grow some veg in her garden and give her a load of Fred Prosh. It is the little things. But if everyone activates, if everyone mobilizes in their community and does something, if it's not health that resonates, go and look at food. If it's not food that resonates, get involved with education, get involved with local politics, alternative media. There are masses that everyone can get involved with, and not only should they really have to now, actually, because I think we do have a moral obligation to make sure we do what we can for everyone around us as well as ourselves, and guide others that are just earlier in their journey along, whilst making them feel safe. Because for a lot of people, this is going to be quite overwhelming. It is going to come across as quite scary and daunting, particularly when you're only looking at surface level. And it's up to us to act as healers for others. I'm sure of it.
Well, my office here is full of healing equipment. I've got all sorts of stuff here, and I've been healing people. People have been coming around. I feel a bit bad. Can you do anything? And I'm I'm a part-time healer. This is a this is a PHA hublet right here.
Perfect. And that's what it's all about. There are no hard and fast rules. We've had people coming forward saying, well, can we look at your plan for 3 years' time? Can we look at this? You're thinking old school. You're in the old world. Let that go. Let it go. Yeah. Because we're not bringing over any of those hierarchical structures, those, we could plan for 3 years' time, but quite frankly, our plans from 8 weeks ago have changed because we're having to react to what's going on around us. And it's organic and it's beautiful and it's happening and it's working. It's working for those that are involved with it. And I would encourage everybody to get involved at some level or another.
Well, I'm going to buy you a big drink when I see you in person.
I should hope so.
I think we've got big parties. Big parties are going to be coming our way. Keep the fire burning. Keep the vibes high, guys. If you're watching this, please go to the website the-pha.org.
Perfect.
Go there, spread it everywhere, because this is how we do it. This is why we're still on these platforms, because this is how we do it. It's a wonderful speech, Catherine. Got to shoot.
Thank you, Mark. And I'm very excited about the next 6 months. I know to a lot of people, I just want to say, even on the surface, if it looks a bit dark, it looks a little bit scary, it's just a process we're going through. And what we get coming out the other side is going to be beautiful. And in that darkness, we're the ones, we shine our light. If we shine our light bright enough, that darkness is eradicated. It disappears. So, just keep the vibration high. Know that we've just got to go through a bit of a process. But what comes out the other side is truly beautiful.
Yeah, well, we're bursting a boil on the arsehole of life at the moment.
Humanity, yeah.
It's a little bit messy, but it'll be all right.
Swab it. Yeah, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for everything you're doing, and stay in touch and come on and update us whenever you've got anything. If I can help in any way, just let me know.
Thank you so much. I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.